Okay. I'm Jacob Julius Ade by name. I joined CHM through my younger brother. He did the knowledge class, and it was when I was discussing with him when I had a little challenge with my former place of work that he told me about CHM. And those periods, I think CHM happened to be a blessing for me at that period because it was a difficult time for me because I was placed on suspension, investigation was going on, uh, and all those period, I was just like, what is really this? At some point, I was even asking God, God, what's the meaning of this? Because I've never get involved in anything that can be indictful or in any way. So what actually is this? And what I was trying to do at my place of work at that time was to protect my integrity as a Christian and also trying to stand my ground, especially as an accountant of the office. But definitely nobody will want to believe an accountant is clean. They will always see an accountant as somebody that is involved in financial crime. But at that time, CHM came up. I was like, CHM, how do I cope with data purchase and what have you? And as at that time, I had so many journey that I was involving. I remember the first day when Pastor Gibson called me and said I was the assistant class representative. I didn't argue with him. I just say, okay, sir. And along the line, I think he also told me the person that is the class representative pulled out for some personal reasons, and then I will have to be the class representative. I just say, okay, sir. But as at that time, I was passing through a lot. But I'm so happy that I didn't reject all those work that Pastor Gibson was committing to my hands. And I also have to put this on record. When my assistant was named in the person of my dear brother Moses, honestly, it really helped me to carry on with the work. Even sometimes when I had to travel, I would just tell him, I'm on a journey, please take charge of the class. He will go ahead with that. And that really helped me to really stand well through the word mining, through the prayer, because I joined the prayer unit as at that time. A lot of prayer that was being led in the prayer unit really helped me in CHN. And the word mining, all those words are words of encouragement. You don't know I was passing through any challenges at that time, but you were saying words of trust in the Lord, uh, see God as your refuge, and all those words were just pulling me through. And you can imagine somebody with a family to take care of, wife and children, and dependent on you, and you as the first son having to stand up to your responsibility. It wasn't easy, but all those words were encouragement that really make me strong through that period in time. At a point, I was even telling God that, God, let me go back to this place of work to really prove this or that. But God really didn't really let it go that way. Even despite I was able to prove my innocence after I left there, because barely 6 months after I left my former place of work, God exposed my boss that was the person that was against my being there. Because some of the board members really, some of them saw me and they were like, that they told this man that the person that you are standing up against, we can't find anything against him. We have checked all the records. We have invited external auditors. They've checked all through the records and there's nothing against him. He still stood the ground and said, He doesn't want me in that office. But 6 months after I left and I got my present place of work, I was in Bowen University for a workshop seminar, and I was called. Somebody that I didn't even remember that I went for an interview somewhere, and I was called that, where am I? Am I not supposed to have come for my letter of appointment? And I was like, letter? And I thought it was a joke, but at last, it's really a reality. I went there, got my letter. At first, I was thinking maybe they didn't give me, because when I went for the interview, I was telling them that I can't stay at the head office, because if I must stay at the head office, I will need to relocate my family, and that will be a very challenging one for me, coupled with having financial issue along the line of the challenge I was going through, and then coming to really face another new job at the head office where things is expensive, my children's school, change of environment and what have you. I told them at the job interview, and I told them I would love if you can take me back to where I am after the employment. And they said, we have not employed you. You are giving us condition. And I will just laugh over it, and I left. But as God will have it, I was called upon, given my letter of appointment. That was August last year, while we are still going on with the knowledge class. That was August last year. So that's why I said me joining the CHM is really a blessing for me. Uh, uh, and I'm not taking it for granted at any point in time. I give God the glory for making me to come across CHM. And also, I really want to really put this on record that Pastor Gibson, the Lord has really given you a big work, and I'm praying every day that He will help you to accomplish it to the end, and you will not miss it in life in Jesus' name. Then moving forward on the project that we are giving, I I decided to look at the project. I work with an insurance company, and I work with the accounting department. And based on that, I always have claims to pay at every point in time. So I realized that there are challenges that the claim department always have. So because insurance company receive various claims description on a daily basis, in which relate to different policy types. Some can be from the auto aspect, or home, health, travel, and every other aspect. Let me just pick few so that we'll be able to move on. And then sometimes all these are being done manually. And when they are being done manually, inserting it, it really can bring in human error, and especially when description are using various words, it always bring in human error. So I am using a classification model to really bring out what I'm trying to showcase to us this evening. And my objective is just to build and evaluate a machine learning model that takes a short claim description as input and then predicts the correct insurance category accurately and efficiently. And then the outcome will be a trained classification model that can automatically categorize new claim description into the correct insurance type, and also improve efficiency in claim handling by reducing manual sorting time. And then we'll look at the visual insight into the most influential words for each claim category, aiding in transparency and interpreting the model predictions. These are some of the things that we'll look at once I put I show us what I've been able to try. I'm using the word try to do, because at the end of this, I'm trying to see how to really present it through my boss in my own department, and then it will really go through the claim department for approval, and then it will move to the technical department and move up to the GM, and then if the GM will go with it before it will now go to the board for them to decide for us to use this model. I'm using the natural language processing. That's what I'm using. That's what I'm using to really carry it out. So I created my S3 buckets, and that's what we have on the screen here. And then I created I used JJ data to create the buckets. And after that, I created a folder, test classification. That's the next thing that I created. And I now uploaded the CSV, that's the insurance claim for test classification. Those are the things I created under the S3 buckets. Then I went ahead to create my SageMaker by creating the notebook. By creating the notebook, I tag it text classification assignment 1. That's what I use. And then I open the notebook. Now that will take us to the notebook. Yeah, this is the notebook. So I'll just take us through the things that I've tried to do. I imported some of the necessary things that I will need to run my data. So then I imported the CSV through, that's the one I created in the S3 buckets. I imported it by using the code that was given to us by Pastor Gibson. That if we look at it here, we'll see the bucket's name, JJ data, the file, that's the key file name, test classification, and then the CSV file is insurance claim for test classification, just like what I showed us in the S3 buckets. Then this is the first method that I used from the code that Pastor Gibson gave us. And we can see the data here, giving us the description and then the categories. I just pick some of the data. That's by using the head to pick some of them. So, and I use the head to also bring it out so that I will see it more clearly. Delay result passports, which is categorized under travel, the booking, boarding, international under travel. Then we have the fire door breaking, which is for home insurance. And then we have the holiday travel, which is all that is under travel. So we have them in different categories, but based on the description, that's how it brings out the categories. So I use the second way of uploading my data. That's from the code that was given to us by Pastor Gibson, and it still brought out the same thing, but in a clearer form without any warning. Then I move ahead to separate my features. That's the target label, which is the description and the category, into X and Y. And then I convert my text into numbers. So these are most of the texts that are in the data sets. Then I train the text by splitting that's, since I have it already in the category, description and category. So I now move ahead to make use of my logistic regression classifier. That's what I'm using to train my data. And then I try to run my model prediction. Excuse me. And then I evaluated the model performance, and it gives me 100% based on the data that is used. Now, the data that is used is official data, but I only try to modify it at some point so that it will not bring out the official data. So I just try to modify one or two things there. So it gives me accuracy 100%. So I decided to plot the confusion matrix. But now in the test, what I have in the test in my data is 10,000 data. That's what I have in my data. But out of the 10,000 data, I decided to pick 2,000 to test first, because I'm still working on this data set. I'm still working on it. But so far, at least I've gotten something out, so that on this, I'll now be building on. So out of the 10,000, I decided to pick out 2,000 out of it, in which we have auto to be 490, we have health to be 491, we have home to be 504, and then we have the most of all those data that fall under travel to be 515. Now, if you sum up all this figure, it will total up to 2,000. So is this 2,000 that I try to plot the confusion metrics on. And then when I plotted that, we'll see it in the confusion metrics that as at when the auto was 490, every other was 0. And then when the health was 491, just like the way it is itemized at the top, every other, both the home, travel, and auto, they are 0. The same thing to home. When that of home is 504, every other auto, health, and travel, they are 0. So that means we are not having any of them. Then we have travel to be 515, and every other, they are 0. So I decided to check some of the words that are very, very important in some of the descriptions that are used. And then I decided to use it by plotting my word cloud, yes. So in doing that, I realized that engine was most important under auto, and then accident is the next that is important. So it moves from down like this upward to see the one that is most used in the category of words that came in the insurance policies. Then under that of health, we have therapy to be the highest used, and then treatment follows. And under home, we have water to be the highest used, and that of and then leak the next. And then under travel, we have cancellation as the highest used, and then journey to be the next. So I decided to visualize my my word cloud. Okay, we can see it here now. In the visualize, it is more pronounced. We can see that the engine, the bolder the words, the importance it is on that part, importantly used it is on that word. We have engine, just like what I showed us in what I have up when I was showing the, yes, we can see the engine is the most used. So the same way it is here in our word cloud. Then that of health, therapy is the most used, then followed by treatments. And then in that of home, water is the most used, followed by leak. And then in travel, we have a cancellation to be the most used. So you can see that the bolder it is, the the more it is being used. So I now decided that let me also try to experiment a new claim so that I'll be able to see if it can serve in the nearest future. So I decided to use vehicle accidents with wide winds damage. That's wide shield damage. I tried to bring it up, and immediately I tried that. Uh, the result came out and said it is categorized under auto. Immediately it came out with this as the predicted category. So far, this is what I have been able to do. Still, I'll still try to see how I can still build more on it than what I have now. Thank you, sir.
Wow. Wow. This is awesome. This is awesome. This is awesome. This is great and marvelous. Well, we definitely think that the application we could see here going forward on this project is huge. So we could see